If you've ever felt like finding and selling your old Beanie Babies collection would be a lot easier than finding and ranking for the right words in Google, then I think you're gonna like this video on optimized copywriting and SEO. First up, we're gonna talk about what is going to work and not work in 2021 and beyond. Google is making some changes that we need to be aware of as creative small business owners and entrepreneurs, so I wanna give you the whole scoop on that. Then we're gonna talk about content writing in SEO. I'm gonna show you my strategy on how to land on pages 1 through 3 of a search engine for most of the keywords, at least, that you're trying to go for. If you've ever struggled with writing blogs that are going to bubble up in rank or try to figure out what your keywords even are that you should be going for, this part of the video is for you. Finally, we're gonna swing from talking about content SEO over to website on-page SEO because the strategies for the two are a little bit different. I'm packing this part of the video with tons of over-the-shoulder tutorials and lots of juicy tips along the way. Hit the like button and comment below, heck yes, if you're ready for this complete SEO training, and let's go. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ashlyn Carter. I'm a conversion copywriter and launch strategist for creative entrepreneurs, and I have had so many clients and students say, okay, I get it. I understand that quality conversion copy is important for my website, but how does that mesh? How does that come together with things like SEO writing? What's the overlap? How do I tie them together? How does a blog format differ from an SEO standpoint from on-page websites? How does the SEO in my blog differ from when I'm writing just a landing page on my website? I get it. If that's you, yay, I'm glad you're here because I'm gonna do a 3-part series. This video is one of 3 that I'm doing where I'm gonna do a bit of a deep dive into SEO copywriting and content writing and help support you there. So let's get into my 2021 strategy. The first thing I'm gonna do is double down on the things that I am already ranking for. Okay, the first thing I wanna do is go back and look at 2020 and past that even and see where I've already been ranking or doing well. My best tip for this is, yes, it's gonna be to dive into some Google Analytics, but here is specifically my best ninja tip. It is great to be in one of those top 3 slots that Google will report after you search for whatever query you're looking for. But what about slots numbers 4 through 30? Google already likes me or you when you're in those slots, likes you for that keyword. They're flagging you as relevant, you just haven't broken one of those top spots. Well, this is the first thing that I wanna know is where do I stand for spots 4 through 30? Okay, if you wanna play along with me here, there's 2 things that we can do. The first is go ahead and open up Google's Search Console. They already aggregate this data and you can see where you're ranking. This is kind of the path that you want to do that. Honestly, the easiest way to do this, I think, is through a free tool from the Hoth. It's called their Google Rankings Checker. I am not affiliated with them in any way. I've just found this tool. I think it's helpful. It is an opt-in essentially, so you'll be on their email mailing list, but the tool is just so great. Okay, so theoretically from this list, after we go through it, we can see where we're already ranking and what we could boost to see a massive traffic spike in, hopefully. Now, what's so interesting for me as I look at this data, as I see where we rank, it is truly a mix of website landing pages. Again, we're going to talk about that coming up here, but it's also a mix of regular content that I'm spitting out on my blog. I can see I'm ranking for things like website copy template, launch copywriter, about page copywriting, product launch copy, my name, obviously. But what is also interesting to note are the things that I wasn't truly going after, but they are bubbling up and they are ranking. These random blog posts I wrote that just happened to do well, I may want to go and try to figure out how to capture. Longer tail keywords like Emily Lay Planner, Artifact Uprising Baby Book, how to read effectively, that may be one that I'm definitely interested in. And this blog post that will never die that brings in so much traffic, it's how to create your wedding planning spreadsheet. These are short and long tail keywords that I'm already ranking for. By the way, ranking in general comes from writing good, juicy blog content. And if you want the behind the scenes on exactly how I craft a blog, make sure you check out this video right here. I'll link it down below. And hit subscribe because next week's video, I'm gonna dive into specifically how I do keyword research for blogs. So look out for that one as well. All right, if you were playing along, then you've started to pull this list together of spots you may not have even known you were already ranking for. So that's one part of my strategy for 2021 is seeing how I can then go back and double down and make sure that these pages are continuing to rank or push the ones that are in the, the back half of that 4 through 30 spots. See how I can push those into page 1. The next way I'm going to keep up a solid SEO copywriting strategy in 2021 is I'm gonna be aware that these Google algorithm changes are coming, and I'm just gonna adjust appropriately. I always feel like having an SEO strategy feels a little bit like what investing in the stock market is like. If you do it right, if you set it up well, theoretically, you should be able to let it just sustain for a long time. You implement once or check on it occasionally, maybe once a year, to see those consistent results over time. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm an online marketer, a digital marketer, and I swear sometimes I still feel like I need a master's degree to even understand what in the heck is going on in Google Analytics, or just even read the weekly update emails that they send sometimes. It's a lot. Here in a nutshell is what this algorithm update that you and I need to be aware of. Here's what it boils down to. Forbes said it very clearly. Content may still be king, but if the user experience isn't any good, it does not matter how good the content is. No one's gonna see it. All online searchers and all online search engines really want one thing. We wanna get the info we were looking for with a great website experience along the way. So starting in May, Google is gonna hawk-eye this a little bit more than they have in the past from a user experience standpoint. 2 videos from now, I'm gonna give you 8 ways that you can update your website to make sure that it's ready for all this, so hit subscribe. But what can you do before then? Again, if you want to play along at home, what I want you to do now is go back to your Google search engine and mosey along to a new tab that they added in fairly recently. It's called your Core Web Vitals. Now, apparently they're going to give us some time to get this stuff updated, but it's just really good to know for now. When I'm in here, you can see that most of my issues are that pages take a little over that golden spot, 2.5 seconds to load. This can be a real challenge for those of us that have large websites or have a lot of big images. Seems to affect a lot of creative entrepreneurs. Even if you just have lots of features, this can affect it. Now, as I'm doing my own website update for 2021, I have jotted down a list of some of the things that I'm gonna work on to fix this and how I'm gonna go and clean out some code that's been in there for a long time, things like that. I'm gonna put this list over on the side just in case you want to screenshot this. That'll help you as well. But I loved how this Impact article put it. Now is the time to take action against any page experience metrics here where you're falling short. Do not wait. So that checklist I just showed you and making sure that on-page load time is sped up as much as possible, those are some things that I am gonna do as I refresh and get ready to relaunch my website. You can do the same thing. And then last but not least, the final thing that I'm gonna do to focus on a solid SEO copywriting strategy in 2021 is to keep up that long form copy. A lot of students or clients will ask me, do I really need a blog? Yes, I always say yes. Now, I talk a lot about creating those hero pieces of content every single week, and this is why I love that system, because this enables you to do that. You don't have to worry about publishing massive, big content all the time. Again, back to the investment word picture. I want you to think about over time how this can build. So if you can go for a year creating those 52 pieces of hero content and then really work to make sure that they're ranking over time, it's like you're planting all these little evergreen trees. And no matter what you're doing or how you're creating video or audio content to help enhance these, they will live somewhere. Again, if I go back to the data and look at what was working in 2020 and even past that, other little evergreen trees I planted, what I'm seeing is I'm already ranking for things like weekly routine, theme days for work, how to write a pitch email, how to launch my website, and then blogs that bring people in have been things like how to name your business, how to create a welcome packet, how to write your website copy in Google Docs, how to write your about page. These are past hero pieces of content that are still working and bringing in people. So it's gonna take a little bit of calendar creativity, but here's one thing I'm gonna do in 2021. I'm gonna try so very hard to update or at least optimize one of these every single week moving forward. How can I double down? How can I flesh this out with more information or newer information that I've learned, or add in little demos and video tutorials, or add in some more pinnable images? Are there more keywords that I can tie into this? The other little bonus tip I'm gonna give here that goes along with this third piece of the strategy is to update the list or refresh the list of keywords that I am trying to rank for. If you've never done this before or you just wanna try it for the first time, here are the 4 steps. It's pretty easy. I just want you to pull out a piece of paper, and the first thing is brain dump all the different services, products, or offers that your business has. Make a list. What are they called? Write all those down. The second thing I want you to do is put on both your business owner hat and then your client or your customer hat. I don't know why I was doing that move, but I want you to write down all of the different ways that you could say that or that they might be typing in when they're looking for that. We're just making a word salad here. So step 3, think about any auxiliary offers that you promote or things that you talk about a lot, tools that you use a good bit, affiliate programs you're a part of. And then number 4, and this just comes from putting your ear to the ground constantly. I know I talk about that borderline ad nauseum, but the different ways that people would be searching for someone like you. That client or customer needs what you do. how are they going to search on Google? What are they going to back up and be looking for to come to you? If they need more help, how will they adjust their terms in Google or whatever search engine they're using to continue to keep drilling down and figure out what they're looking for? Phrase these as questions when you're making this big word salad of keyword research ideas. Do this before you watch this next video in the series that is coming out, where I'm going to talk into how I do blog keyword research, my strategy there specifically, but I promise it's going to help if you have at least some overarching direction of what you think people are going to be looking for. If I can keep those up this year, I'll feel pretty dang good about it. And if you're tracking with me so far, you're working so hard on making sure you're building a website that works when you can't, with compelling copy that actually converts, then I have something for you that may make life a little bit easier. Meet my 44 questions your website must answer before you launch it checklist. It is a done for you list of pulled together checkpoints that I want you to not pass go or collect 200 before you can check off at least most of these. I have done all the brainstorming for you after working with so many clients on the agency side of my business and their website copy. And this is a solid checklist if you are ready to master your message, write your site, and launch it to sell. Now, while it's unrealistic to actually land in that #1 spot for every single keyword that you're going for, you can realistically land on pages 1, 2, or 3. So if you've ever struggled before with writing content and blogs that bubbles up and does land on pages 1, 2, or 3 of Google, or heck, you don't even know what keywords to use, well, you are in the right place. The last thing I want is for you to get frustrated going for some keyword that you're never going to realistically rate for. So let's go through these 3 tips plus 1 bonus one to find those keywords and write a better blog. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you have this blog topic in mind that you're going to write about, or if you're going to create an auxiliary blog piece of content for a YouTube episode or a podcast that you have, #1, we're going to make this list and then flesh it out with related keywords. Okay, so in last week's video, I'll link it down below, I got you started at this minute mark here with creating a word salad of sorts of different types of keywords that you should be going for. So in this first step, we are going to flesh that out just a little bit more. Essentially, what other facets of those subjects should we be considering or phrasing with more of a long tail keyword, which is a just fancy way to say a keyword that's more than one actual word. Now again, this process will work for figuring out your keywords that you want your overall website to rank for, which is what I'll talk about in next week's video, but right now we're going to apply it to a blog post or a piece of pillar content specifically. First, I think it'd be helpful if I show you a quick screenshot of what my blog content outline looks like. Now, again, I talk a lot about pillar pieces of content, hero content, so when I say blog, this is in addition to a YouTube video that I'm turning out every single week, but what you can see here is a basic outline, and this is where I start every single week. So I duplicate this inside the correct folder, inside our Google file structure, and this keyword section right here is the one that I'm talking about trying to fill in. So to fill that in, I primarily love 3 tools the most of all. They're Keywords Everywhere, Ubersuggest, and SEMrush. Google's Keyword Planner isn't too shabby either, but those other 3 tend to be my favorites. Side note, there are so many keyword tools out there, so just find what you love and use it. I've tried tons of different ones over the years, and these are the ones that I just keep favorited because they were easiest. All right, we're gonna start with my favorite Keywords Everywhere. So this is functioning as a Chrome plugin. I'm here on the website. I had clicked install for Chrome. It's already up here, as you can see with this icon. So let's come over to a Google tab, and what you're gonna be able to see, I just ran a search for a brand photographer. And so there's a couple of ways that we can come up with some other keyword ideas that we could use. I'm pretending for the sake of this example that I am a brand photographer, and maybe I'm launching a course on brand photography and how to be a brand photographer. So I'm just going to see some ideas. One place we can start before we even worry about Keywords Everywhere, Ubersuggest, is just seeing what Google recommends. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you probably already knew this, you can see all these related searches, other things that people are searching for. So that's interesting. But what I really like is being able to see a little bit more data and information thanks to Keywords Everywhere and Ubersuggest, which also, here it is, this view that also functions as a Chrome plugin. So they're free, just install them. And even with the basics, not even worrying about the paid plans, you can get a lot of aggregate information. So I'm going to talk about these numbers. This is a Keywords Everywhere thing right up here in just a moment, but right now let's look at the words specifically. So Keywords Everywhere is going to give me this list of other words that I could use also down here, and I'm going to talk about numbers because this is a lot, right? This is a lot, and this can help be narrowed down based off of the actual number of people that are searching every month. But I just wanted you to see how many different words you can come up with in different phrases, and you can play around. That's not very specific. So let's see, personal brand photography. Maybe try that. Let's see. So as you change this, these metrics over here on the side are going to change as well. Here's some great keyword phrases. These are going to be some good ideas that you can use in blog posts and beyond. So that is the first way that I wanted to show you to find some keywords by using Keywords Everywhere and Ubersuggest plugins. All right, tool number 3 that I like to play around in is called SEMrush. And I have done more of an in-depth deep dive. I'll link the YouTube that I did to that where you can kind of see in these tabs. And I have the paid version of this. I would recommend if you do a lot of content creation, I think the paid version is worth it. Again, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the ninja reason I think it is worth it. But what I want to do specifically is come over here to where it says keyword overview. And I went ahead and typed in kind of the same keyword that we were looking for. So you can see that this is going to pull the same sorts of information as well. So again, like I said, there's so many tools that kind of do the same things and offer different variations. I know this one can look a little bit overwhelming. So just pick the one, try maybe 2 together. And then if you're really getting into it, add a third that you can do your keyword research to. So I spend about probably 15 minutes prior to writing a blog looking for different ways that I can find all of these keywords and pulling them together. And now let's go ahead and talk about the numbers, which is up next. Okay, so now your small word salad of initial keyword ideas you have turned into a gigantic word salad, which is fun. And hey, you're just trying to write a blog that serves your people and helps rank. Well, friend, that's why we're going to narrow that list down and see how we can trim it based on volume and size of searches. So step 2, we're going to select the words with a volume that you can actually rank for. Okay, you've probably heard someone say before, that is a really competitive keyword, but what do they actually mean? Well, it's a short way of saying how many people are searching for this every single month. Think of it like market share. There could be so many thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people searching for that one thing, or it could be a smaller group, and that still matters. That's still probably worth going for that market share. That's still X amount of people you could gobble up and lead into your content. So let's go back to the computer, because within those 3 tools, I want to show you how to be aware of search volume, or just pay attention to it as you go through, and organize the keywords based on the volume so you can kind of tell where you want to shoot your arrow and have a target range. Okay, let's see how we can narrow down that ginormous list of words that you made, because it's stressful when it's that big to me, and I want to actually know what to go after. So here's my magic number that I'm going to give you. I like to aim for a number of monthly searches right here with this Keywords Everywhere. I like this number to be over 200 and under 5,000. And that is me personally, what I like to go for. I just want to tell you how I do it. That tells me if there's under 5,000 searches a month, I think I can play in that sandbox. I think I can go for that. If it is over 100, over 200, that signals to me that enough people are looking for it that I want to spend my time creating content about it. So if we look over here, that's what these numbers mean. This first one, this volume, that's search volume. So all of these like this estimates about 30 people, 20 people-ish a month are searching for these specific phrases. I mean, it's just, to me, that's not worth creating a bunch of content for. But if I can see that number tick up, and then you can also, when you have Keywords Everywhere, you'll be able to see, you can click and it'll drop down those same numbers for this line right here. This is Ubersuggest. That's going to give you some more information about the domain authority of that website. Look, and it tells you a little bit too, which is really helpful. Let's do brand photography course and see what happens. Just to play around a little bit and see what other things come up. Oh, wow. See, that's like super low. So if you are maybe wanting to teach this brand photography course, like, look, there's not a lot of people searching for it, which is a good thing, but also to crack from an SEO standpoint, you're going to have to like put different bait in the water than trying to build a blog post around this. You know what I mean? So because there's not that many people searching for it. So how can you zoom backwards? Let's look over at SEMrush one more time so we can see those numbers are in here as well. Here it is, volume. So you can see those. And like I said, I'm going to play around with trying to hit, again, like this one is great. I like to hit that over 200 yet under 5,000. This one would be a great one as well to go after. And so I hope that shows you a little bit, like some of these I wouldn't even worry about writing down. Actually, most of them I would not worry about writing down, because what I'm going to be concerned with are these big kahunas. I would probably, looking at this, I would add brand photography and personal branding photography to my list, not worry about the rest of these. And I would do some other research up here, like different ways to phrase it, keyword variations, and see if I can find more words that are in these kind of numbers. Now you can do your thing here. I know some people are real spreadsheety. I actually am, but I don't have a big spreadsheet of all of this pulled together. I know what I want to rank for with my website. So when I'm working on a specific blog, I just am kind of doing this volume ranking while I'm trying to find the right keywords, and I know the range that I'm trying to stay between. So those are the words that I'm going to pull over and put in this blog and content outline. A good rule of thumb is to really pay attention to those long tail keywords, those phrases, and maybe try to go after those because, again, they may not have the biggest search volume in the world, but that's a good thing. You don't want to play the game with some of those websites and brands. And if there's enough people phrasing it a certain way, see if you can, again, like I said, gobble up that part of the market. Let me give you an example using a student of mine. Her name is Leah, and she's a calligrapher. If hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are searching for the phrase wedding calligrapher, but considerably fewer are searching for that phrase within her area, well, then what do you think we want to try to rank for with her website? Okay, so we've done this keyword research. The research portion is done. You can go back here in step 3. Now we're just gonna actually write. So 2 things here. If you watched last week's video where I was talking about the Google algorithm updates that are coming down the pipeline, then what's so exciting is that content is still king. And if you write content that is just chef's kiss, so good, it's gonna have a great chance of doing well. So really try to serve your people and offer up good quality content. I always say I want my blogs, my emails, everything to be worth the time at least that it took to click over and get into the content and read up on it. Now I've covered my blog post workflow and formula right here. I will also link it below. But to do a quick recap, here we go. I'm gonna turn the camera around. Essentially, when I'm moving into the writing portion of the phase, I am not thinking at all about SEO keywords. I'm writing in my voice, my style, how I like to teach, how I like to talk to people. I am not worrying one iota about anything having to do with a keyword. And pause, here is that challenge for you. I want you to screenshot this formula that I have. This is the research portion that I do before I make a YouTube video, before I write a blog, anytime, even sometimes some lives. Before I go into creating the content, I want to make sure that I have like a chef with their mise en place. I've got everything in front of me and all these different little tools that I could use to enhance this content. And again, like I said, make it worth that click. I showed this to some copywriting for creative students on a call last week, and they thought it was so helpful, so I'm gonna show it to you as well. No matter what type of content you create, I think that this research outline will be helpful, and truly, once I have that, moving into the blog writing portion kind of writes itself. And again, like I said, it is my voice, my style, my personality coming out as I write. Which brings me to step number 4. Now I'm gonna go back in and soup it up for SEO. My number 1 ride or die go-to tool here is Yoast. I typically pick one primary keyword, one secondary keyword out of that list that I'm really trying to rank for to use in the title, in the meta description, and so on and so forth. But the rest of those words I am gonna try to weave into the content. So I'm gonna go back up into the content of the blog that I've drafted and see where I can plug in different words. One thing I may try to start doing in 2021 is having at least around 7-ish additional keywords in this blog. Neil Patel one time said, the number of keywords, there's not a magic keyword, just as many are actually relevant to the post. And those are the 3 big steps. I told you though at the top that I was gonna give you a bonus tip, and here it is. The last piece of the puzzle would be to track it. And for that, I love SEMrush. It is a paid tool, but to me, it's worth it. Again, I've been blogging multiple times a week since 2016 at this point. I don't wanna have a big spreadsheet or trying to be keeping up with where different keywords are falling or where my content is ranking, so I just lean on this tool to do it for me and send me a weekly email with where I'm ranking for what. If you love this concept of writing quality content and copy that is ready for SEO, but it is not overly gimmicky or schmoozy or robotic, and instead infused with voice and personality, then I would invite you to check out my brand voice guide. This is a freebie 10-page printable guide that you can download today. It's full of prompts to help you zero in on your brand's voice, tone, terminology, and tempo so you can begin to have a working doc in your business that's a North Star or a mood board for the words that you're going to use to market your business. I will link it below, so grab it while you still can. We're going to go specifically into your website pages themselves. That's like your home, about, your services pages, etc., and make sure that they are set up to rank and bubble up in search engine results as well. Okay, let's get into these SEO copywriting tips, starting with number 1. First up, I want to talk to you about how to use the keyword you're going for in your on-page body copy. Okay, so last week we talked about how to weave those keywords into your blog strategy and your blog content. But in comparison to your blogs, your website's key pages, again, home, about, services, contact, resources, all those big kahuna pages that you're spending so much time on, they're typically lighter on content, word count. And they should be. Again, those long form blogs you're writing, maybe they're 5,000, 7,000 words, you're spending a lot of time there. But these pages, just by nature, unless it's a long form sales page, 3,000 to 5,000 plus words, it's probably gonna be a little bit shorter from a copy standpoint. And if you're like so many of my students in Copywriting for Creatives, they say, okay, then how do I implement an SEO strategy that does not sound robotic when my word count is diminished even more? I'm about to flip the camera around and show you how to do that, but this is important because these pages are likely gonna have more higher of a domain authority than your blog pages, again, overall. Think about it. What pages do you more likely link to on a week-to-week basis? Week in and week out, I'm constantly giving out my main website or linking off to my about page or to the services pages, more so than I am to specific blog posts. A quick tour of your Google Analytics can show you you're probably somewhere in the middle where you've got a lot of your blogs providing some of that SEO juice that's driving to your website, but a lot of your key pages, those top pages that people are looking at, are likely the big pages of your website. Okay, so here's why it's important that we figure out the keyword strategy for these pages. It's easier for them to rank for more competitive keywords or long tail keyword phrases. And when I talked about Google's 2021 algorithm update in the other video, I mentioned how much of a prioritization they're going to put on load time and mobile optimization. The lower your scores are in those key areas, then theoretically the lower those pages will rank, again starting after May 2021. But before we can fix all that, we have to make sure that the on-page content is souped up and ready to go, firing on all cylinders. So you need to know your hot keywords that you're going for on these big pages of your website, and then you need to lace them in organically in your web pages on-page body copy as often as you can, but in a way that is a little more natural. As I flip the camera around, let me pause and say, if you haven't found those keywords, again, make sure, sorry to keep plugging them, but they were pretty good. Go back and watch the videos, specifically last week's. I show you my keyword research strategy. So if you don't know how to find that, then go back and watch that video. That will help you. But right now we're starting from a place where we know the keywords that we're trying to rank for. So let's try to incorporate them in the body copy on our website's landing pages. I told you I was going to help you get started with my Google Docs website copywriting template. This is a starter guide. It's 24 pages, but it'll help you go ahead and begin to write with SEO in mind. This is a little snippet that Copywriting for Creative students know, but even when we're working on the agency side of my business with our brand story and website copywriting clients, we want to ask them, we always do during the onboarding process, what words are you trying to rank for? And then this template will help you make sure that you keep these top of mind as you're drafting this on-page landing page copy. The second thing to do is to use that keyword once in a header phrase on this web page copy. So we want to label this keyword phrase once as H1 copy, and if we're saying it again on this page, then we'll drop down to H2. Now, this part becomes a little bit of a dance between on-page copy and design, like any install is going to be. So let me show you again. I'll flip the camera around and show you what I mean when I'm saying labeling things as H1 and H2. Okay, I'm going to show you this and show it again. That's the tool that we use. So this is a landing page for a service that we provide, like all the time. So let me show you first of all in Show It. I'm going to go under Design Settings. So this is where you go ahead and label and name your types of copy. This is H1, this is H2 in Show It, this is H3, and this is P or paragraph copy. So in the code, if you actually looked at the code, that's what these would be labeled as. You can go as far down to H6, but Google is typically going to crawl 1 and 2, a little bit of 3. So those are the ones that you're going to go ahead and name. So I just wanted to let you know that in Show It, that's what each correlates to. Okay, let's close out of this because what I want to show you is a ninja trick, and this has been so helpful for me. So on this, I want to be ranking for launch copy. So what I need to do then is go in and make sure that these, all the other words, even if I'm using this H1, I'm using quotation marks with my hands here, you can't see me. I need to make sure that in other instances, it's pulled down a level. So I went in here and I need to make sure that this is set to H1, and that's gonna be the one time on this page. So these, H2 is just fine. This is H3 actually. Yep, there it is. Okay, see where that was over on the side? I'm gonna keep coming down and just make sure that like these are labeled, nope, not H1. So that is H2. This I need to pull off of. P is fine because remember I just want that keyword, which is launch copy, to be mentioned one time with H1. So I'm gonna keep going down and breaking these. P is fine. This is H3. I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up. Okay, so I hope you can see that you can go in manually and change these and show it so the code is properly pulled into what it needs to be. I'm going to keep changing these. Clearly, I got some work to do on this page, but that's something that I found recently that's been super helpful. Okay, that tip 2 brings me to my next tip, number 3. Now we want to use that keyword in non-copy spots on this page. Okay, what's she talking about? Well, there's 3 specifically. You've heard of them before, probably. They're your title text, your meta description, and then any alt text that is used on this page. I'm gonna break those down in detail. I like analogies, I like books. So let's explain this like parts of a book. So if Google is a library and we want to find your book, your website, here are the pieces of it. First up, the title tag. This tells the search engine what that page is about. Think about this as the title of the book. It's going to be what bubbles up at the top in Google or whatever search engine it is. It also needs to be unique for every separate page of your website. That's key, okay? We want it to be a concise, accurate description of what's actually on this page, and you want to aim for 50 to 60 character count here. I use wordcounter.net, I think it is. Yes, .net. All of the time, I just have it favorited to count word count for whatever I'm working on with copy. So I would just go there and play around until you find that 50 to 60 mark. You need to focus on your title tags because your web page, your website's landing page may be exactly what your reader needs to land on, but if that title isn't clear, that's not helping. Don't waste that valuable SEO copy. You need to help them understand what they're gonna find after the jump from the search engine page's results to landing on your website, and be very clear there and not waste that space. There's a good old David Ogilvy quote about headlines that I keep in mind. I always talk about when I'm teaching on headline copy. Kind of want to remember it for this as well. You're probably spending a lot of time on crafting your blog titles, but don't negate your website's landing pages titles as well. Spend time on those with your title tag. Number 2, the meta description. I'm going to analogize this. Is that a word? Sure. This is going to be like the back cover of the book. So you see it, you got the title, you flip it around to kind of learn a little bit more about what's inside. So before you hit publish on a website page, make sure that you go into whatever website development tool you're using and you add a compelling meta description as well. This is key. When you Google something, you're kind of judging that click that you're going to land on based on what comes up in the description field, right? We're going to make sure that you use these keywords you're trying to rank for in this copy 100%. I use show it for my website. A lot of our clients, a good bit of our students do too. So I'm going to flip the camera around and show you where this lives in show it in case you find that helpful. And this is how you update the meta description on this page. So I'm going to come over here, go down to where it says SEO settings and open this up. Okay, this is old. This is when I still did calligraphy in my business, and so I've got all of that reference. So I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to say learn how to start. I'm going to say and grow your creative business with, okay, here's where I'm going to pull this out. With copywriting templates. I'm going to say free. So that's going to help me with SEO. Copywriting templates, copywriting resources, and more. Let's see how many keywords this is. So wordcounter.net. Pull this in, pull that copy out. I can go a little bit more. Learn how to start and grow your creative business with free copywriting templates, copywriting resources. There we go, that's better. All right, and I'm gonna paste that in. And that's how you update the meta description. The word count we're looking for here is between 150 and 160 words. Again, use that wordcounter.net tool. And don't duplicate this copy or copy and paste it for each page, even if they're similar. So you want to vary it from home to about to services to contact, so on and so forth. So if you've got a service page for a $1,000 price point offer and for a full-blown $5,000 to $10,000 offer, then make sure that those meta descriptions are different, okay? And finally, number 3, the alt text on the image descriptions. So this is like the inside of the dust jacket of the book, or maybe even the captions under the pictures in the book. It's not the first thing you'll look at when you're trying to scope out, do I want to take this book home with me or not? But it's definitely something that you may look at. Side note, photographers, I feel like you guys always know this. The rest of us sometimes get a little left out. So let me again flip the camera around and show you how to make sure that your alt text is okay as well. Image search is way more widely used than you may think it is, so make sure that you're updating your alt text for SEO as well. I've got a couple of hot tips for you as you do this. The first one, name your images in a way that describes what they actually are. Google in the past has prioritized and recommended hyphens in between the words to describe this instead of underscore. Also, don't use non-alpha characters in the descriptions like these guys, or even those pretty vertical lines that we all like. Just do the words to describe exactly what's in the picture, hyphen in between, call it a day. Okay, tip number 4 I have for you. Make sure you're using testimonials and displaying your reviews. This does actually help your SEO. I have talked about this in so many videos, but if you haven't heard me say it before, stop putting all your testimonials or your case studies or whatever on one page. Make sure you're sprinkling them throughout your website. As long as you're formatting these in an optimized way, I'll show you a couple of examples of those. This is going to help your ranking. Google's algorithm is going to read the presence of testimonials as credibility. This communicates trustworthiness, authority. You've worked hard for those reviews, so again, make sure you're not just burying them on one page, but you're helping put those through different pages of your website. Tip number 5, making sure you've got that address in your on-page copy. Okay, especially if you are a brick and mortar or a local business, this is huge, but shout out to those of you who have a digitally based business. Oh my gosh, please have your address on your website. I feel like I'm always looking for someone's contact information or to see where they're based. Sometimes I want to send something, sometimes I just need to know. Have that. I promise it's going to help you from an SEO standpoint too. If you're doing any kind of email marketing, you know you already need to have your address to send out email and adhere to CAN spam laws, so have it on your website as well. If you're not comfortable doing your home address, as a lot of us aren't, just use a PO box, a UPS box, something like that, but have a address, a physical address that you're listing on your website. Tip number 7, put a big priority, especially this year, on responsive website design. Okay, we talked a lot about the on-page copy, making sure that that's ready. Let's move a little bit more to some of the other things that Google has told us specifically that they're going to be looking for in this algorithm update. Site speed and page load time, site design across different devices, mobile versus tablet versus desktop, ease of user experience and use, and then definitely the visual stability of the page's content. These are some things we need to work on, so let's start here. What does this actually mean for you? I want you to go through every single page of your website and look at it on a mobile device and a tablet device. I'm going to show you a trick that I do all the time for this, and make sure that you like the way it looks, that it is clear and understandable and laid out in a way that gives a good user experience. Again, I know I'm like blue in the face from saying this, but this is something they're definitely prioritizing in the 2021 update, and mobile first indexing is big for Google. Your website needs to look as good as it does, if not, I would probably even say better, not just on desktop, but on mobile devices. And trust me, I literally have to make myself focus on this because it doesn't come naturally. I work on desktops all day, and I have to make myself do this. So I told you I was going to show you a trick. Let me walk you through that right now. Okay, so I'm on my current website. I'm so excited to get a new website this year in a couple of weeks. But what I want to do, this trick you will love. Okay, you're going to left click, and then I'm going to come all the way down to click inspect. And once I open up this is so much easier to me than going back and forth on like actual devices, is being able to toggle here. So you can, like, this is how I'm able to look at it responsive. So I can look at it on different, this is how it would show up on an iPad Pro. So I can like check it out here and see what is going on, what's the stitch. I can also toggle up here. Let's go ahead and look at iPhone 10 and see what it looks like here. So this is just so much more helpful. There's like a few formatting things that I don't love, but you're able to look at it this way. And I know in native, like in FG funnels or ClickFunnels or lead pages, there is an option to look at it on mobile too, but I honestly find it easier to go through page by page on something like this, and you can see what it looks like right here instead of like going back and forth and clicking different things. So that is what I would recommend doing 100%. It's a lot easier. So again, you just you're going to hit that left click, go down to inspect, and then be able to toggle back and forth here. That brings me to the next tip, number 7, making sure that the content is easy to read and laid out in a way that gives a great user experience. I've told a few clients and students lately, but people are theoretically only reading about 20% of the copy on your website. What? I know it hurts my heart, but that means that we just have to make our websites very clear for the skimmer to read. We have to write our websites for the skimmer, and you need to do that. I've got some hot takes here. First of all, make sure your paragraphs, I have a rule usually about 3 sentences or less in a paragraph. Use bullet points, bolding, break up your text, style it up. Make sure that you're, again, playing to the skimmer and the reader, and you're actually dictating and showing them exactly what you want them to read on this page. If your copy is not easy to scan, you're doing it wrong, so get out of the way of your reader. Let me show you a few examples of this done really well from some copywriting for creative students.
This is a long form sales page. I think it ended up clocking in around 5,000, 4,500, 5,000 words. And what I wanted you to see is a couple of ways that we broke up the copy with larger text, but also these smaller paragraphs. See how small they are? And then rotating back and forth between larger copy, smaller copy, different ways to stylize it. So there's lots of different ways to do this, but I wanted to show you this example. Another example I wanted to show you is Kelly's website. Kelly is a baby sleep consultant, and yes, she is outside of the realm a little bit of the clients that I typically serve, but she came to us right before actually I delivered, and so it was like kismet. It was perfect to get to work on this because I had all these questions, and it was fun to get to work on and write. So what I wanted to show you is how this copy is broken up into little, even like one lines and here and there, and then like this copy pops, it's in the middle and it looks a little different, so on and so forth.
And the final tip, number 8, make sure you link off to other pages of your website internally. Try to use good anchor keywords and then highlight and link those to other pages on your website. These are the little minutia and details that's kind of grunt work, but it can pay off. So spend 15 minutes going through the pages and doing this as well. What you're doing here is making a little mini spider web of linking your pages together and forming a little mini network. So on your home page, if that links to your about page and your services page, and those pages link to internal pages of your website and so on and so forth, you're drawing this little map that's making a mini universe for Google to pick up and for it to signal. Okay, we've covered so much in this video, so as a reminder, for a more tactical way to move through some of this, make sure that you look down below and grab that free website Google Docs copywriting starter template that I have for you. Like I said, it's 24 pages and it's going to help you so much be able to begin laying out your website copy and content so you're not just drafting willy-nilly style in whatever website developer and design tool you have, but coming to it from a very strategic standpoint, having those keywords right in front of you and writing from there. Okay, now you know how to get your SEO copy to a good place before you launch it out there, but what about figuring out your pre-launch strategy on a tool like Instagram? Be sure to watch the next video I've got teed up where I'm going to talk you through a pre-launch strategy that you can execute on Instagram. If you liked this video, let me know by hitting that like button, and also be sure to share this with anybody that you think it may help. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.